Happening now on Grid Tonight. After fracturing his tibia in Colorado, Chase Elliott will be out for at least the next 6 weeks. Can Josh Berry make the most out of this opportunity to substitute for NASCAR's most popular driver? The Iceman is back for another NASCAR Cup Series race with Trackhouse Racing Project 91 program. Can Kimi Raikkonen impress everyone in Austin, Texas? Meyer Shank Racing winners of the 2023 Rolex 24 at Daytona have received a significant penalty from IMSA due to violating the rules. Will Meyer Shank Racing get to keep their Rolex watches, and what does it mean for their 2023 season? Hello to all our viewers watching here in the United States and around the world. Welcome to Grid Tonight, your weekly motorsports news program. I'm Kobe Lambert from the Podium Finish. We have a full house tonight. With me is Joshua Birch, Casey Campbell, and Matt White from Grid Endurance Performance Index. We encourage everyone watching to comment in the chat below and ask any questions you may have. We have a lot of news to discuss tonight, so Josh, take it away with our top story this evening.
Good to be back. Nice after a week off. Right, yesterday evening, Hendrick Motorsports announced that Chase Elliott will miss at least 6 weeks of competition following the snowboarding accident in Colorado that resulted in a fractured tibia. If that timeline holds up and his recovery goes as expected, Elliott won't race at Phoenix, Atlanta, COTA, Richmond, Bristol Dirt, and Martinsville as well. And that would mean his first race back could be at Talladega on April the 23rd. Elliott is currently going through rehab in Colorado. The team owner as well, Rick Hendrick, said that they're focusing on getting him back to 100% no matter how long it takes, and make sure the best sources are available. For all of the oval races during Elliott's absence, NASCAR Xfinity Series regular Josh Berry will get another shot to drive the number 9 Chevrolet. At Las Vegas, Berry had a rough day, struggling throughout the race and finishing in 29th position. Berry was at a quite disadvantage in Vegas, finding out very late in the game that he'll be driving a Cup car with no time to prepare properly in a car that's quite different from the Xfinity car. With a full week now to prep and better understand of the Cup car as well, Berry will be better prepared to succeed at Phoenix, a style of track that he's really good at, and the photo there courtesy of Chris Grayson as well from Getty Images. Now, Josh Berry has put a tweet out, thankful for the continued opportunity at Team Hendrick, while at Chase Elliott continues to recover his health and return to the top of the list for all of us. In the meantime, we have and will continue to put in the work going forward to reach our potential. On to Phoenix with a muscle up there as well. Casey and Matt, coming to you as well. And Casey first, did Rick Hendrick make the right choice to keep Josh Berry in the seat for all the oval races until Chase Elliott can return?
Well, first off, thank you guys for having me. This is my Grid Tonight debut, so good to be on with all you guys. And but yes, I do believe that it is a good choice to see Josh Berry in the 9 car. This is what we've known about Josh Berry for a long time because of Dale Earnhardt Jr. This is a rising star in the Chevrolet pipeline, as we can see here. You know, five total wins in his Xfinity Series career. This and last week was his first start in a next gen 7 car. So yeah, there's going to be a learning curve. There's going to be some growing pains, but I think it's going to be he's going to have a much better result this weekend. I think he's getting used to these cars and all that stuff. So I think he'll have a good run at Phoenix and a good run at Atlanta. We'll see for sure. I know that and then Jordan Taylor, I think at COTA is going to be very interesting to see what he can do. And obviously, coming from the IMSA world. Obviously, he's in the Chevrolet pipeline, of course, races for Corvette Racing. And I know he's been heavily involved in the road course stuff and helping these guys out. And of course, he's also coaching the Garage 56 drivers. And of course, this is kind of a dream come true for him to drive for Hendrick Motorsports. Of course, he got to drive with Jeff Gordon a few years ago in the Rolex in 2017, which of course they ended up winning. So I think it'd be a good choice. What do you think, Matt?
Yeah, he didn't have a great weekend, did he, at Vegas? But as you said, Josh, it was a bit of a late call. Of course, Chase's injury only kind of came to light on the Friday. with the race on Sunday. So it was a bit of a late call. Did have a good run in the Xfinity race, did Josh Berry, to pick up a good finish there, but didn't have the great run. And obviously Hendrick finishing 1, 2, 3 in the main race on Sunday with Berry, a couple of laps down wherever he was in the 20s. But he's got that one race now under his belt, as you said, first to run in this new type car. Goes to Phoenix next week. I'm quite surprised actually that Justin Allgaier didn't get the call this week at Phoenix, because we know how good Justin is there. But looks like they're going to stick with Berry, who's kind of got himself to the top of the pecking order, it seems, at the Hendrick Junior Motorsports kind of Chevrolet stable. So there was some talk about maybe them doing a deal to get Corey LaJoie in the car potentially out of Spire. So that hasn't come to fruition. But we know how good Josh is. He's come up so quickly over the last couple of years. And Xfinity, as you say, 5 wins now to his name. He's going to be one of the championship favourites in that series. So no real surprise. The only surprise for me was that they didn't give Allgaier the call, maybe just for this week, but maybe with a week's worth of sim time, maybe if he can get back to the sim. I know they're out west, and maybe that's a bit more tricky, but more time with the 9 crew, then he can get himself more acclimatized to the car, ready for this week.
And Jose Maker says as well, coming in as well, Phoenix, I think, will be a great opportunity for Josh Berry. The 9 team has a lot of notes for Phoenix, a driver's track, and I wouldn't be surprised if he gets a top 10. I think it's likely as well. Could be very likely. Let's get the opinion of the guys soon, because Ben Schneider's coming in and saying it'd be great to see Josh bounce back at Phoenix. 29th is on par with his 2 starts with Spire in 2021. If they can hit the setup right, he's surely capable of better results this weekend. Other 2 pundits seem to think it's a chance as well. What do you 2 think of it? And I'll throw in Jacoby as well with that. Is it possible he can be inside the top 10? It's a very demanding track, Phoenix.
Yeah, I guess I'll go first. I'll go Casey Madden, back to you, Josh. But I totally agree with the comment Joe made there. I think it'll be a great opportunity for Josh Berry in that number 9 team to go to Phoenix. As you mentioned, Joe, it's a driver's track, one of those shorter tracks, that Josh Berry's bread and butter, that he's really good at. That's how he made his name to get to the NASCAR Xfinity Series. And Rick Hendrick thinking very highly of Josh to put him in a car. Rick Hendrick just wouldn't put anybody in an HMS Chevrolet, so he has to think very highly of Josh Berry for him to get this opportunity. I'm sure Dale Earnhardt Jr. puts in a great word as well. And you mentioned, all the difference between the Cup car and the Xfinity car. It's a big difference, with all the technology and all of that, especially aerodynamically. They are very, very different. That's one of the things that Josh Berry talked about. And in order to prepare for a race like this, you really need to have some time like it, working in a simulator throughout the week and getting a race under your belt in a car like this really helped. So Josh found out very last minute that he was going to be in this car. So I felt like his performance at Vegas wasn't a great representation of what he can do in a Cup car. I think having this entire week to get ready for Phoenix, he's gonna have that longer practice session, qualifying and the race itself. I think we're going to see a much better performance from Josh Berry. It's kind of unfair to judge him based on what we saw last weekend in Las Vegas.
Yeah, I would agree, because one race doesn't make or break there. And of course, our own Ben Schneider said, be great to see Josh bounce back at Phoenix. And I think he will. He had 2 starts with Spire in 2021, but those were in the Gen 6 car. So it'll be interesting to see what he can do in the Gen 7 car this weekend. I think it's going to be a lot better for him, I think.
Yeah, I have to agree. One thing we have to maybe monitor over these next couple of weeks is his Xfinity performances. Will they taper off slightly while there's this Cup run going on there? Because of course hasn't won yet in that championship. I know we're only 3 weeks in, so he's got to get a win under his belt to get himself into playoff contention. Maybe the Cup focus in the 9 car will take away the focus in the 8. Well, I guess that's something we'll have to wait and see over the next month or so.
Yeah, of course. Remember Ty Gibbs, similar happened to him, and he went on and won the championship that year. And our own Ben Schneider says, totally agree, Kobe. Not fair to judge anyone in a new situation after just one race. Yeah, absolutely.
And of course, as I mentioned, Berry's going to be doing the ovals, so all of them in the period that Elliott's absent as well. But there is one race that he is not going to be doing. It's a road course race as well at the Circuit of the Americas during the 6-week period. And now HMS has decided to put Corvette Racing factory driver Jordan Taylor in the car to showcase his skills as a road course rigger. Now, Taylor is a very accomplished driver, scoring overall victories in the Rolex 24 at Daytona, 12 Hours of Sebring, and the Petit Le Mans, including a class win in the 24 Hours of Le Mans. Plus, he's a 3-time IMSA champion. Besides his full-time IMSA program with Corvette Racing, Taylor is also assisting Hendrick's Garage 56 entry that's going to take NASCAR back to Le Mans. Now, Taylor's been dreaming of making his NASCAR debut for a while now, but the stars haven't aligned until now. Many in NASCAR, the community as well, are already familiar with Taylor due to his alter ego of Rodney Sandstorm, a Jeff Gordon superfan as well. And this is the tweet that Jordan Taylor put out. So honored to be asked by Team Hendrick to fill in for Chase at Circuit of the Americas in the number 9 car. This is obviously under difficult circumstances with Chase being injured. It is going to be a heck of a learning curve, but I hope we can make him proud while he's recovering. Matt and Kobe, coming to you on this one as well. How exciting is it to see Jordan Taylor get this opportunity to make his Cup debut in top-tier equipment?
Yeah, it's great. We're going to come on to the second story in a moment, that NASCAR kind of news from today, but it's great to see these new people popping up from time to time. Jordan's been kind of on the periphery, I guess, for the last couple of years, as you said, Josh. So it's nice to see him get a run. Hopefully he can do a good job. The social media content that will come out around that weekend is just going to be tip top regardless. Anyway, one thing I will have to mention, being from the parish of Bedford, where a certain Nick Tandy is from. Now, he probably would have been in line for that seat if he hadn't left Corvette and gone back to Porsche. So it's a bit of a shame that we don't get to see Nick Tandy in the car. But nevertheless, Jordan's going to do a great job. We all know how talented he is, and one of those, isn't he? He's been, as I say, on the edge of this for a while. So if he can get in there and do a good job, what can come in the future, who knows?
Yeah, Matt, totally agree. I think it's a really exciting opportunity for Jordan Taylor to be able to make his NASCAR Cup Series debut in the race for Hendrick Motorsports, of all teams, considering, his alter ego, Rodney Sandstorm. Everybody knows who Rodney Sandstorm is in the NASCAR community, and especially, for the same team that Jeff Gordon drove for, who's now has an, upper management executive role at HMS now. So coming full circle there for Jordan Taylor, especially with his long relationship with General Motors and Chevrolet. This is really exciting to see. And also, you don't really get to see a lot of these quote unquote road course ringers get to race, in top tier equipment in the NASCAR Cup Series. When you see them come in, they're usually driving for one of the smaller underfunded teams. And like a good day for them would be, like just finishing in the top 25, and a huge day for them would be a top 20, and a win would be like a top 15 or even a top 10. So for Taylor to be able to get in this type of equipment at HMS, this is huge for him. And it would not surprise me at all if we see him being very competitive and contending. Adam Limmery says if Jordan Taylor can get a top 10 finish at COTA, it's going to be awesome. Totally agree. It's really going to be awesome to see Jordan in the NASCAR Cup. Phil, I don't think a top 10 finish is out of the question. It's certainly possible. He'll definitely have the equipment to get it done. And Jordan, as you mentioned, Josh, Jordan's been wanting to make his NASCAR debut for a while now. It could have happened a few years ago, but for some odd reason, Jordan was going to, I believe he was going to run the NASCAR Cup race on the Daytona road course, but NASCAR oddly denied him from being able to run that event. I have no idea why NASCAR would deny Jordan Taylor an opportunity to race on a road course back then. Doesn't make any sense considering the fact that, he's a Le Mans champion. He's won all of those major endurance races in IMSA, but who knows? But anyways, I'm glad he was able to make this happen now to drive the number 9 for Chase Elliott.
Hey, look, NASCAR drivers can just drive in any series they want to, but if anybody tries to come in, oh, no, you're not allowed to do that. I'm so sorry. I'm not going to get another rant like we did on Monday. Joe Samioka says, is Taylor an early favourite if we have rain? That's a good option as well, because wet races at COTA are known in NASCAR as well, because remember the first time we went back to that circuit, it was just rainstorm like crazy, and everyone was slipping and sliding. So, can he master conditions that others seem to not be able to? I know, Matt, you were commentating on that race for USRN, I believe, that day back then, weren't you? And I think that was a crazy one to watch.
Yeah, it was madness, wasn't it? We had the big Martin Truex wreck on the back straightaway and red flags and rivers running across the racetrack, and wasn't great for the first race at COTA. Thankfully, we got a dry one in last year, and looking forward to see if, he's going to, as Kobe said, Hendrick cars have been pretty decent on the road courses, haven't they, over the last 12 to 18 months? So he's in probably the best equipment he could possibly be, and if we get a bit of moisture on the racetrack, then potentially he could be straight to the front of the field. Let's see.
I love that. Josh, don't worry, your encore rant was epic.
You would have had to be there for that one. I was there for that, so that was good. And you might hear him rant later on in the show because there is more Cup drivers going to Xfinity later on, and obviously
there is.
We'll get to our news segment.
I put that on TikTok as well, the little rant that Ben edited, and I put it on TikTok as well, and people were just like, what was going on? But then again, I also put the opening lap of the F1 season on, and apparently I sound like the gingerbread man when commentating as well. So that was fantastic. Can't wait to put another one after Saudi Arabia. And speaking of Formula One, it leads us perfectly onto our next story as well. After an impressive showing last year at Watkins Glen, Trackhouse Racing's Project 91 program returns for the NASCAR Cup Series race at the Circuit of the Americas, with the Iceman getting a second Cup start. The 2007 Formula One World Champion Kimi Raikkonen will drive the number 91 Chevrolet on Sunday, March 26th at COTA. Now, unlike Watkins Glen, this is a track that Raikkonen knows well from his days in Formula One. Raikkonen won the 2018 United States Grand Prix here for Ferrari as well. He's last, actually, the winner and the championship for Ferrari, also not understated there, back in 2007. ONX and ILOQ will serve as the primary sponsor, while Darren Grubb will serve as Raikkonen's chief crew. Now, graphic courtesy there of Trackhouse Racing. Given Raikkonen's knowledge of COTA, do you think he'll have an easier time getting up to speed in the Cup car compared to that of Watkins Glen?
Yeah, Josh, I think it always helps when you have a track that you know well, but obviously the speeds compared to a Formula One car to a Cup car is going to be a massive difference. So the breaking points that Kimi Raikkonen remembers from his Formula One days, is obviously not going to be the same. So yeah, knowing the track is great, but it's still going to be a challenge for him to get up to speed in the Cup car at COTA. But as we saw during his outing at Watkins Glen, he actually got up to speed very, very quickly. I was very impressed with everything that Raikkonen was able to do in that race. He looked good in practice. A very short practice session. He didn't qualify so well, which not a big problem. And then and that was crazy because I believe that race started in the rain as well. Raikkonen did really good in those conditions. He started moving up through the field, got in the top 15 at one point. He was running in the top 10, which really surprised a lot of people. I don't think a lot of folks thought Kimi Raikkonen was going to be able to run in the top 10 at any point during his NASCAR Cup Series debut. So that was very impressive. So it would not surprise me if we see Kimi Raikkonen running up in the top 10 at Circuit of the Americas either. He definitely has a really good opportunity, and just like Jordan Taylor, Raikkonen is going to be in race winning equipment, which is really rare nowadays at the top level of NASCAR for all of these road course ringers. And before I turn over to Case, you can catch up on a few comments in the chat room. Hey Dimas, really glad to see you here again tonight. And yep, Kimi Raikkonen, the Iceman, back in the NASCAR Cup Series for his second career start.
Yeah, I think that the Iceman will have a very good time in his second start there. I think he can be top 10. He could even contend for a win if all things go to plan. But it's definitely going to be a better time for this thing. And the thing is, he knows this course. He knows COTA, Circuit of the Americas. And look at all the drivers we have in this field. We got Jordan Taylor. Connor Daly's going to be in this field as well. So there's a lot of guys that are going to be in this race that it's just going to be exciting. It's all forms of racing are going to be represented here. Maybe we could I don't know who else we could find to come to this race, but it should be fun. And I think this is going to be. I didn't think COTA would work out for for NASCAR, but we had 3 good races last year between trucks, Xfinity, and Cup, and I think we're gonna do pretty well here this weekend when we come up here in a few weeks' time.
I wonder who could come in as well, who we know loves NASCAR and isn't racing this year and is number 3. I wonder
Australian
who.
bloke.
Yeah,
Curly
I
hair.
remember. Yeah. What's his name? Mark Webber. That's it. Mark Webber. Yeah, yeah. Red Bull driver, wasn't he? Yeah. So, oh, come on. Just come on, Danny Rick. Come on. Just give us what we all want. Just give us a race just run a 33. Have a tongue in cheek. Run it. Just come on. Gemma says, when is the 2023 NASCAR Cup Series? March 26th. It will be at COTA as well. So 2 weeks on Sunday. Yeah. Going to be a fun one as well. It's my father's birthday, actually, as well. So that's something to look forward to. Reflecting on, as we were talking about as well, the Watkins Glen race for Kimi Raikkonen, he did say that he had a fantastic time in NASCAR and highlighted how he had to learn a lot in a short amount of time. He's looking forward to COTA and believes his knowledge of the track will shorten the learning curve, as we've been talking about. Now, last year, prior to racing at Watkins Glen, he got to test the Cup car at Virginia International Raceway, a fantastic circuit as well, and that helped him prepare for his Cup debut. Now, Raikkonen qualified 27th and raced his way towards the front, ran inside the top 10 and the top 15 before getting taken out by an accident exiting the bus stop. Now, he won't get to test before the race at COTA, but he will visit the Trackhouse shop in the days leading up to the race in Austin, Texas. Raikkonen admitted that driving in NASCAR isn't easy and hopes his time with Project 91 can open up some doors and get more Europeans into the sport as well. And at one point, we thought the road course ringers in the NASCAR series were disappearing as a few weeks before the race at COTA, we know we see Raikkonen, INDYCAR's Connor Daly, and IMSA's Jordan Taylor in the race. Now, Matt White's, this is the post of the 2021 NASCAR Cup Series champion Kyle Larson in the background. And I suppose then we'll start with you, Matt, with that one. Out of all these 3 drivers, which one will be in the best position to get a good finish in the line? We'll start with Matt and then bounce back to Casey.
Well, just on the Raikkonen thing, I have to use his radio from that COTA win. Bleep finally that we've got this Project 91 car back on the racetrack, because honestly, after Watkins Glen, there was nothing on social media. It seemed to have gone dead. Justin Marks did say it was Kimi's ride until he kind of said he didn't want to do it anymore. So good to see him back. And Trackhouse won at that racetrack last year, did they not, with Ross Chastain, thanks to the AJ Allmendinger bowling ball on Alex Bowman on the last lap. So Trackhouse go into that race with a 3rd car and plenty of good data to go with it. I think from the ringers going into that race, I've got a high chance that Raikkonen will, unless he gets bumped out like he did at Watkins Glen, I've got a feeling that Raikkonen might win that little mini race between the 3 guys that we've mentioned. Really looking forward to see how he goes. He hasn't driven anything since Watkins Glen, as far as I know, competitively. So it'd be good to see him back in the car, and let's see how he goes on the track. He knows quite well.
Yeah. Before I give my thoughts, let's catch up on the chat. Shane Van Gin, Adam Lemeris says SVG in NASCAR. Of course, he's talking about Shane Van Ginsberg in NASCAR needs to happen soon. I think it'll happen soon. I think someone will try to get him to NASCAR. I think. Let's see. And behind the mic says it looks like Raikkonen will have to qualify his way into the race at COTA because it sounds like there's going to be a lot of entries. Well. As of right now, there is a couple extra cars. I mean, you got the 50 of Connor Daly and the 91 of Kimi Raikkonen. So that puts us at 38. The full field of NASCAR is at 40. So if we get 3 extra cars, one's going to have to go home. And obviously the 36 chartered cars are going to be in. So we're at 38 right now. If there's any more other entries, obviously we'll keep track of it here on Grid Network. But there are 40 guaranteed entries. We will need 41 to start sending cars home. I think that's do we have any more okay, that's all the comments. But yeah, I think Kimi's got the best chance of finishing this weekend. Obviously, it's going to be very interesting to see what the Trackhouse cars and the Hendrick Motorsports cars do at COTA, because obviously those two teams have won the only two COTA races that have been since NASCAR went there in 2021. So it should be a very, very interesting time when we go to Austin, Texas in a few weeks.
Roll on, Austin. Come on. It's going to be a great one. I can't wait to watch that one as well. Unless I'm in the commentary box as well, because I swear Matthew mentioned something about March 26th at COTA. So I think I might actually be in the commentary box for that, which is going to be very fun. Anyway, going on then to our hot topic, and it certainly is a hot topic. This was the breaking news that we had as well this afternoon, and it involved the winners of the 2023 Rolex 24 at Daytona, Meyer Shank Racing, who were hit hard with penalties from IMSA. Now, after IMSA completed post-race technical inspection, including the release of provisional and official results, the series became aware of potential tyre pressure data manipulation by the number 60 Acura ARX-06 LMDH car that competes in the GTP class. Now, following the release of the official results, Honda Performance Development, that's the HPD, discovered that tyre pressure data manipulation and reported it to IMSA. Now, since that happened, IMSA conducted an investigation and determined that Meyer Shank Racing had violated the rules. As a result, the team was issued with significant penalties, losing 200 team and driver championship points, losing all team and driver points relating to the Michelin Endurance Cup, and all of the race-winning prize money was taken away. Now, the entire organization was fined $50,000, and team owner Michael Shank has been placed on probation through to June 30th, 2023, so around about 3.5 months' time. Now, the team engineer, Ryan McCarthy, has had his IMSA annual credential revoked and received an indefinite suspension from IMSA competition. However, Meyer Shank Racing's Tom Blomqvist, Colin Braun, Helio Castroneves, and Simon Pagenaud will get to keep their Rolex 24 race victory trophy and Rolex watches, photo courtesy there of Meyer Shank Racing. Now, this is a statement from Meyer Shank Racing. We have accepted the series decision and have taken responsibility. We want to apologize to everyone at Acura, HPD, and all of our partners. We have dealt with this issue internally, and the team member that was responsible is no longer with the organization. We do not want this error to overshadow the tremendous effort that our team, drivers, and all of our partners have put forth to develop this new LMDH car. We consider this matter closed and are fully focused on resetting and coming back for the 12 hours of Sebring. HPD also released a statement saying, "We are extremely disappointed in the misconduct of the Meyer Shank Racing, MSR, team during the Daytona race. We became aware of a problem with data from the #60 MSR car after a detailed investigation following the race. We reported our findings to IMSA. HPD does not tolerate any misconduct as well as data manipulation of any kind. We completely support the action of IMSA in this matter. We have put in a huge effort over 2 years with our chassis partners in the AR-06 to make the best race car we could. To have this put into question is unacceptable as well." And all three of you now coming in on this question because it is a big one. How big of a blow is this for Meyer Shank Racing as they look to defend its prototype title? And what kind of message does this penalty send to the rest of the IMSA paddock?
Well, I'll be honest, I was really shocked when we got the notification that Meyer Shank Racing had received this huge penalty, but at the very least they get to keep the Rolex 24 victory. So this is kind of like the situation we had in NASCAR before they started moving into disqualification. I guess we can call this an encumbered in IMSA win, or some people, or some people like to say the cucumber win. So this is basically what we have going right here. But in all seriousness, this is a massive blow to Meyer Shank Racing. It hurts their image more than anything. And if they wanted to go back to back in prototype titles, that's essentially gone now because Rolex Rolex 24, getting the max points there, that's gone. So it's basically going to be like missing an entire race. And if you miss an entire race, it's really hard to catch back up. So trying to win another prototype championship this year from Shank Racing, that's probably out of the question right now. It's really disappointing because this team had a flawless race in the Rolex 24. Tom Blomqvist, Colin Brown, Elio Castroneves, Simon Pagenaud all drove great races, did an incredible job. And to see this happen, the entire team get hit with a penalty, it certainly has to be very frustrating for the entire organization, because this is like the job that all of these teams and drivers do. It's not easy. In sports car racing, it takes total teamwork, and for I guess one person here, the team engineer who was made responsible for this to get caught, manipulating the situation here with the tire data is really hurtful to Meyer-Shank's image. And as for this team engineer, he's probably going to have a really, really difficult job trying to get another team to hire him moving forward. As you see, they even put his name out in the press release to put him out there. So when once IMSA, if they decide to lift that indefinite suspension, he tries to go to find another job in sports car racing, a lot of teams are going to be very hesitant to pick him up. And as I said, it's just really unfortunate to see this situation happen. As we all know the story, Michael Shank, trying to come up through the ranks, he's made a lot of sacrifices to reach this level in motorsports. Trying very hard, through the Grand Am era, transition to IMSA, building this great relationship with Acura and HPD, finally getting recognized as a factory team in sports car racing. And now this happens, and going back to this statement right here from HPD, you can tell they are not happy at all. And I wonder what's the future relationship going to be like between Meyer-Shank Racing and HPD, because you see right here, they basically slammed their partner here for the misconduct. And it doesn't just put Meyer-Shank Racing in a bad light, it puts Acura, HPD, and all of those people in a bad light, as well as you can see they're really not happy to be brought into this situation either. So so when one person messes up, like you win as a team, you lose as a team. So in this situation, everybody's losers in this super unfortunate situation. And the last part of the question you asked Josh about what message does it send, I think it sends an extremely strong message to the rest of the IMSA paddock. If you get caught breaking the rules, IMSA's not going to mess around. They're going to lay down the hammer just like they did here with MSR.
Yeah, big story, isn't it? And a couple of things to pick up on, like as Kobe said, the image is a thing. This is the crown jewel race of the IMSA season. It's no offense to some of the other 2 hour 45, standard length races throughout the year. This is the big one, and everyone now, again, that's going to have an asterisk against it potentially in the record books for some people that aren't Acura fans going forward. What a week it's been for Mike Shank. He had 2 of his IndyCars smashed to pieces on Sunday at St. Petersburg, and now he's come into the office on Wednesday morning to this. So what a terrible week that team is having. Interesting that they did put the culprit's name. I've not seen that before, where someone's been found out and it's this. They've hung him out to dry. But watch out at Sebring, because they will be in smash mode for that team. They will want to win that race and prove that the car, legal or illegal, obviously it's going to be legal again at Sebring without this going on, was the fastest. So it could be a Floridian double for the MSR team coming up at Sebring in a couple of weeks' time. Going to be interesting to see how they go. We talked about the American teams going to Le Mans on last week's show. If you didn't catch that, go back through the archive and check it out. One thing we didn't mention, and this kind of falls into the category of, there's no Acuras going to Le Mans, so they are not looking at the balance of performance table for Le Mans like some of the other manufacturers are. So I wouldn't be surprised on that part again to see the Acura teams at the front again at Sebring in a couple of weeks. And as I say, Shank will be out for redemption after this story today.
Well, we're going to talk about balance of power in a few weeks, so that'll be fun. So that's the other leading story to this, and also, and I think this is also you think about where this car is, and this is a completely brand new car with the hybrid components and batteries and all that stuff. It's like, sure, let's try to do this, but I can't really. It is a little surprising when I got that today. But the thing is, it's like you notice no one could catch that 60 car during practice. If you guys remember, they were the fastest. Really, I mean, Tom Blomqvist laid down that qualifying lap like no tomorrow, and then I was like, there was like really nothing that could stop them. I mean, I was actually talking with somebody today. They were very lucky that they did not get the trophies and basically the results taken away. So, I mean, is it an asterisk? I mean, I guess it is to some people, yes. But the thing is, it's like that team's going to come out with a vengeance. You're like, you think we cheated? You think we cheated to get this win? Watch this. So it's either you can take that as fuel to help you perform well, or it's going to be a very, very, very rough weekend for that 60 team. But it also gives the series a bad look as well, because and people are saying, oh, you probably could have done more, you probably should have done more. It's an interesting time with this new car and everybody trying to learn. But I think next week when we get to Sebring, it's going to be this is probably going to be the biggest story so far. But if I'm Porsche, if I'm BMW, or if I'm Cadillac, or I'm the 10 team, I'm coming. We're really going out for this is like, yeah, let's go win this. This is I think this also fueled the other teams as well. So yeah.
Yes, if only I knew another team as well who were caught cheating and their man was put out to dry as well. I mean, I've got no idea what on anything that could be. Anyone got any ideas? A team that was caught cheating, fined millions of dollars, and then the main guy was sort of put out to string. I'm racking the top of my head. I've got no clue whatsoever. Anyway, Casey, I do know you're going to leave us shortly, but we've got some questions coming through. Could this further complicate the relationship between HPD, MSR, and even MSR and IndyCars? As Matt said as well, they've had a horrible week with money being lost, with both cars destroyed at St. Pete. Now they've had this with losing team members and a lot of money to pay out. Drop in the ocean for them in terms of funds, or is this going to be a bit of a problem further down between possible costs for the team in terms of running it and the relationship between everybody? It's a bit like a souring the pond sort of thing.
Yeah, I think it could. I mean, it's I don't think we really know the ramifications of this, and and obviously we're going to talk about this next week when we get to when we do the 12 Hours of Sebring show. We really don't know. I think there's going to be two things that I'm really going to be watching out for. There was obviously one thing because of with the balance of power issues in the GTD field. But then obviously there's this. So who knows what the ramifications of this is, of what's to come of this. So, we kind of saw that with teams. And I remember, if you remember what happened to MWR in NASCAR with Spingate, it's just the dominoes kept coming to fall and the team shut down 2 years later. So, yeah, so we'll just have to say. I'm not saying Meyer Shank's shutting down. They're still going to be around for a very long time. Mike Shank's obviously one of the most well-respected people in motorsports. But obviously coming out and taking care of the issue when they knew about it is obviously going to be a big thing. So it sends a message. It's going to send a message to series. Don't try this, or we're coming after you.
Well, it's absolutely fantastic to have you on as well, Casey. Thanks for joining us for this show. Can't wait to see you hopefully over the weekend. Definitely next Monday as well with the encore. And is this the hat sponsor of the F1 Registry? It's McLaren. Hang on, where is it? I've got it here. Look at the inside. It's the Vodafone McLaren Mercedes as well. Who's this? Oh, this one was actually Hamilton's. Look at that. There we go. I've got buttons over here as well. Hold on. See, look, this is what happens when I'm in my sort of labyrinth. There's Lewis's, and here's JB's. All a bit dusty as well, but yes. And then inside this, I have a little pass here that says Vodafone VIP, and along the inside is race suit worn by Lewis Hamilton at the 2010 Gulf Air Bahrain Grand Prix. There you are. So a little bit of a cut of his race suit that he was worn, and it's just little things I have lying around in sort of like the vault area of the room. So just put that back over there. Yeah, they've got loads of stuff around here. It's really good. But
we'll have to implement a show and tell section of the show going forward, I feel like.
Oh, yeah. We already had that. Well, no, that was the rant. It was the show and tell tonight, and then the rant on Monday. And our own Joe San
I can't
Diego.
quite reach my Danica Patrick bobblehead, but it's over there somewhere.
This is my favorite piece. This is I picked up at Barcelona. This piece came off the Red Bull, and they're probably looking for it. But this came off the Red Bull of, I believe, Danny Kvyat at the time. I think it was 2019. Yes, it was Kvyat, who crashed coming through the turn 9, very, very fast accident. I was standing there, and when they put all the things behind the barrier in a little carbon fiber pile, this was here. So I picked it up and put it in my bag. So they probably should looking for
Christian,
that.
that's why they failed the cost cap, because they had to buy another one of those.
Yes, I'm the reason Red Bull failed the cost cap. I'll put that back over here. It's on my windowsill. Yeah, it's on my windowsill along with bits of gravel from like Donington, Snetterton, Silverstone, and Barcelona. So I don't know. And Australia. Yes, Australia too. Never went there, but my sister did. Actually, my sister went there in 2020. Picked a piece of gravel for me from turn 3, as you do, Martin Brundle around Schumacher Alonso. And then the next day the race got cancelled. So she went there all the way and the race never happened. But yeah, Joe Samega. Look at that. The Indy 500, Helio going for a historic win, and he would want this story to not impact the INDYCAR team, the Indy 500 effort. That's indeed, yeah, because Helio's going for 5, and he sort of wants a perfect year. I mean, he won with Meyershank last year with the Daytona 24. He's won again this year, so he sort of wants that perfect year to do the double. And is this going to be hanging over him a lot, or is he just going to put it out of his mind and say this is different series, different set of racing team? Same name, but we can go for it.
Yeah, I mean, he could. I mean, it's he will be racing at Sebring this weekend, so should be very interesting to see how all that goes. But guys, really, really appreciate this. I will let enjoy the rest and have a good rest of the show, guys. And I will talk to you next Monday on the Grid Encore show.
Thank you, Casey. And now we're going to hand over to Matt as well for the latest of Grid EPI with his update.
Thank you, Josh. Bit of a quiet week this week. Only 2 races to speak of, and they happened at St. Petersburg along with the INDYCAR Firestone Grand Prix. The GT America Championship got underway. 2 races, one of them on Friday evening, which actually ran into darkness, and it was great to see a street course race in the dark with no proper lighting that we'll see at Jeddah in a couple of weeks, although it's not really a street course. That one won by Jason Davakauskos, and then Mimo Gidley winning on Saturday. So 2 victories for Mercedes in the first round of GT America at St. Pete. As I said on last week's show, this week we've actually got a week off. No Grid EPI races to speak of. But then we've got a big weekend with WEC and the Sebring 12 Hours for IMSA. It's also the first round of the Nürburgring Landstrecke series on Saturday as well. So we'll have Nürburgring and Sebring on the same day with the wet race on Friday. So busy weekend to come in a couple of weeks. And just sort of trailing ahead, we've also got that weekend Mexico WRC, so we'll talk about that in this segment on next week's show as we build up to round 3 of the World Rally Championship. So that's the update from Grid EPI. No changes to the top 10, not that you've seen the proper top 10 yet, because we'll get that released in a couple of weeks after a couple more races have been run. So week off for EPI this week, and then a busy one the week after.
Thanks, Matt. Before I go into our follow-up, Demas here is asking, when is the Grid Lives season opener for the Rep Cup Supercars Championship in Newcastle? Well, Demas, we're actually not going to be doing a quote-unquote pre-race show for the Newcastle 500, but tonight at the very end of our program, we're going to do pick a winner for race 1, and we'll do pick a winner for the second race at Newcastle on Saturday, Grid Live pre-race. So Demas, if you want to drop your pick for the very first race this season in the chat, we'll display it once we get to pick a winner. Really looking forward to seeing the new Gen 3 cars in the Repco Supercars Championship this year. And next we have some more motorsports news from around the world, and is ironically about supercars. Penrite Racing has signed Porsche factory driver Kevin Estre to its endurance lineup for the season in the Repco Supercars Championship. Estre will compete in the Sandown 500 and Bathurst 1000. He joins full-time drivers David Reynolds, Matthew Payne, and other enduro driver Garth Tander. Estre said He remembers watching supercars races in the past with his grandpa when he was a little kid in France, and he looks forward to getting to work later this year. And another Frenchman, INDYCAR driver Simon Pagenaud, will return to his home race for the first time since 2011, the 24 Hours of Le Mans. Pagenaud will drive the number 47 Orca 07 Gibson in the LMP2 class for Cool Racing. He'll share the car with co-drivers Rashad De Jarus and Vladislav Lomko. As you can see on your screen, Pagenaud said, "I'm back to Le Mans. I'm so delighted that the stars have finally aligned for this to happen. The 2023 season is going to be amazing. The 24 Hours of Daytona, Indianapolis 500, and Le Mans are the number one motorsport events, and I'm going to take part in all three of them in the same year. I love that. I'm looking forward to this great experience. Cool Racing / CLX Motorsport is a young team, yet they managed to race at the front in a very competitive class. That's exciting. Graphic courtesy of Cool Racing." Yesterday, Love's Travel Stop announced the passing of founder Tom Love, who was 85 years old. Love's Travel Stop has been a longtime sponsor of Cup driver Michael McDowell and very loyal to Front Row Motorsports. We've seen them serve as a primary sponsor on McDowell's number 34 Ford Mustang for many races over the years, and they've also had a presence on Zane Smith's number 38 Ford F-150 in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. And right here, his official statement from Front Row Motorsports. Team owner Bob Jenkins said, "We're saddened to hear the news of the passing of Mr. Tom Love. Mr. Love and his family have shown a path to success that was founded by respect, compassion, loyalty, and love to others. When we won the Daytona 500, the family called us to congratulate us personally and shared in our celebration. The Love's family has stuck by our side every step of the way in our growth. Front Row Motorsports would not be where it is today without the support of Mr. Tom Love and the Love's family. Our prayers are with Judy and the rest of the Love's family at this time." That from team owner Bob Jenkins. And after attempting 3 races with BJ McLeod Motorsports in the NASCAR Xfinity Series, Garrett Smithley is moving on to a new team. Smithley failed to qualify for the first 2 races of the season at Daytona and Fontana. He made the Xfinity race at Las Vegas, though, but finished a disappointing 36th place. With the number 99 Chevrolet getting withdrawn from the Phoenix entry list this weekend and an uncertain future regarding this particular car, Smithley is taking his talents to DGM Racing. And in this statement, Garrett Smithley said, "This weekend at Phoenix Raceway, I will drive the number 91 www.dozawinchparts.com Chevrolet for DGM Racing with plans to run additional races with the team this season. Mario and Michelle Goslin, thank you for picking me up when I was down. The opportunity to drive your race car is an honor. I remain steadfast in my extreme desire to compete at the highest level of motorsports. I know that I have many years of racing ahead of me and look forward to the next challenge and the next opportunity. A special thanks to Jeff Miller, Max Miller, Luann Norris, and everyone at Trophy Tractor for all you have done for me and continue to do for me. Thank you to all of my partners, supporters, fans, and friends for continuing to support me. See you in Phoenix." That's from Garrett Smithley. And NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series regular Carson Hocevar will make his NASCAR Xfinity Series debut later this season. Hocevar is scheduled to run 6 Xfinity races with Spire Motorsports in the number 77 Chevrolet. Premier Security Solutions will be on board as the primary sponsor. This program will receive technical support from Junior Motorsports. We'll see Hocevar enter races at Dover, Charlotte, Nashville, Michigan, Darlington, and Bristol. Graphic courtesy of Spire Motorsports. And our final news story tonight, we might see a rant from Josh after this. He might save it for the encore show when he typically goes on a rant about these particular stories. So Josh, please brace yourself for what I'm about to say. Hendrick Motorsports will bring the number 17 Chevrolet back to the NASCAR Xfinity Series on a part-time basis with HendrickCars.com as the primary sponsor. The Xfinity program will be led by veteran crew chiefs Greg Ives and Kevin Mendren. William Byron will compete in the Xfinity race at COTA later this month. Kyle Larson gets 2 Xfinity races at Sonoma and Darlington. Alex Bowman will drop in for Watkins Glen. All Hendrick Motorsports Cup drivers in that Xfinity seat. Graphic courtesy of Hendrick Motorsports. And next, here's Matt White with one of our newest segments, Hots and Knots.
Yeah, if you missed it last week, I know Josh did because he obviously wasn't here with us. It's time for Hots and Knots, the good and the bad of the last kind of week of news. Or he put a sock in it. Excellent. Well done, Josh. That's no more Xfinity chat for him. But time for Hots and Knots then from the week. And Kobe, we'll start with your hot from the week.
Well, for me, the hottest thing I saw on track was that move in the final laps by Austin Hill to win the NASCAR Xfinity Series race. You know, Chandler Smith had did a really great job all race long, but Austin Hill just kept clawing, he kept coming. Chandler Smith, it looked like he may not be able to make it on field, but he backed it down, but he probably backed it down a little too much because it allowed Austin Hill to close up to him to steal a win there at the end. Thought it was a sneaky win, very closer-esque for Austin Hill to get that done. Thought it was really great for him, and also just it proves to us, that he can win on any type of track. That he's just not a guy who's going to win it, like the super speedway drafted style of tracks.
Josh,
I think it'd have to be Fernando Alonso at Bahrain, and specifically his fantastic battle with Lewis Hamilton. Just because it was fantastic. Because if you remember a couple of years ago, everybody, the team LH on Twitter, were all saying about how Alonso, after they came together at Belgium last year, all team LH was saying was that Alonso deliberately hit Hamilton. Alonso all this, Alonso all that. Alonso isn't really a world champion. He beat Schumacher, blah, blah, blah. They really went at him. And Alonso, in my opinion, didn't deserve that because it was Hamilton who turned in on him in Belgium. And Alonso did say, typical from a guy who only knows how to race and be at the front and win from the front. He's got no racecraft. It was nice to see them both going at it, having mutual respect between the two, and really a chance, because Alonso said all those years ago, I want equal engines and equal cars. They're both in a Mercedes engine now. They're both in equal engines. They're exactly the same. And Alonso whipped him completely. Fantastic from Fernando, proving that the old dog had new tricks. He went up the inside at turn 10, a place I've never seen him move before. They were going wheel to wheel. Hamilton got back ahead at turn 4. Some really great maneuvers between them. They livened up a dull race. But Alonso was like he was 19 again. Absolutely amazing. And that was definitely my hot of the week.
I did mean to mention anyone watching, drop your comments in, and Adam has done so with his hot is that the Supercars Championship is back this week, and that will be my hot next week, whatever happens. That Supercars is back, absolutely cannot wait. And no Commodores on the grid. Yes, Adam, but you've got Chevrolet Camaros to cheer on for the first time. It's going to be very, very odd cheering on Camaro, looking at Camaros rather than Commodores. Joe also, Alonso, he agrees with you. Josh with his hot, his not, was Nico Hülkenberg. He did pretty well in qualifying, but then faded during the race. My hot from the weekend, before we get to knots, my hot was at St. Petersburg, but it wasn't anything to do with INDYCAR. It was the Mazda MX-5 races. They were absolutely sensational. And the first race, the lead changed twice from the apex of the final corner to the start-finish line. If you haven't ever seen an Idemitsu Mazda MX-5 race, they're back at Sebring in a couple of weeks, and they're streamed live on Racers' YouTube channel. So make sure you check them out, because they will be 5 or 6 wide across the line at Sebring, like they were last week. That's certainly my hot for the week. My not is St. Petersburg related, but we'll get to me at the end. Back to Kobe for his not from the weekend.
It certainly has to be how the weekend ended for Andretti Autosport. I already talked about this on the wrap-up show, but if Michael Andretti's organization hadn't run into issues, they probably would have been a hot. They started the weekend off as a hot, looking really fast with all of their cars, and then in the race it all went wrong. Colton Herta contact Will Power hurt his race. Kyle Kirkwood went flying in the air, ruined his race as well. Roman Grosjean into the tires at the contact with Scott McLaughlin, had a chance to win, ruin his race. Devlin D. Francesco almost got launched into the sun by Benjamin Peterson, and so it just wasn't a good day at all for Michael Andretti. But on the bright side, at least Andretti is having a better day than Marcink Race is having right now.
Yeah, that race, we were having technical issues in the commentary box, and it was frustrating me throughout. So it's like a blur to me.
Very annoying.
Yeah, and so the race, it was like I was strange because I can go on autopilot and I forget what happens, so I feel like I need to rewatch it. But from the key bits as well, to me, the race felt worse than a Nashville race in terms of chaos, because at Nashville it's once every couple of laps or so. But there was something every single lap at St. Petersburg that was just going wrong. And it was quite funny. Certainly letting us know it's back. My not of the weekend has to be Esteban Ocon. And it's a surprising one, but he actually equaled a record for most penalties in a race, and that's 3, surprisingly. And he equals Pastor Maldonado with that. He got a 5-second time penalty to begin with because he lined up on the grid in the wrong position. He went past the yellow line. Then in the pit lane, when he was coming in to serve that penalty, the team worked on the car inside the 5 seconds. I understand it was 0.4 of a second before the 5 seconds were up. And then when he came back into the pit lane to serve another penalty, he got a speeding in the pit lane fine. And then he got 5 seconds, so he had to serve again, then a 10-second penalty. So he had a drive-through penalty, 15 seconds, and it was ridiculous. 3 penalties in one race for Esteban Ocon. A most embarrassing weekend, I think, ever for him. And Pierre Gasly completely shined. I think he finished in 9th position off the top of my head. Let me just go. Lovely. Good. Don't need to cover notes. But he started 20th. You know you're doing something wrong when your teammate starts last and finishes 9th and you are right at the back 2 laps down. It was quite funny. And Jason Vega says, Andretti's temper was hot after that race. Not as hot as mine, as Adam Limridge can probably agree with me. We weren't on air when they left the pit lane, and I was swearing blue murder because the equipment was not working. So when we get to Texas and Long Beach, the 2 I'm not there for the entire race, I'll be glad of the break before I can take the reins back for the 4th race. I believe, where is round 4? Somewhere Red America? Wow. Well, there we go, Barbara. Yeah, I'll be looking forward to that when we go back.
Yeah, Ocon, he made some jibe on the radio, didn't he, after all that had all settled down about this is the way it's always been or something. And I was like, well, no, you speed in the pit lane, Esteban. It's pretty slam dunk. Mine not. Back to St. Pete was just the lack of green flag running in all of the races over the weekend. So many accidents, especially in the big race. That first lap crash was silly. And at least we had a bit of a grandstand finish, I guess, of some degree. But slightly second not is IndyCar's calendar, because what a great event that was. And everyone was talking about IndyCar after the race. And now we've got 4 weeks to wait. They could go to Mexico, they could go up to Homestead, and then come back to Texas and have another race in this 4-week gap. But I guess they're trying to get out of March Madness's way, just like they do with the NFL in September. So, yeah.
But then they're being idiots, aren't they? Because the race at Texas is on at exactly the same time as MotoGP is at Argentina. And then the following week, their big race of the year at Long Beach is on at exactly the same time that the American Grand Prix and MotoGP. They're not thinking about moving the times. They've been idiots with the calendar this year. They really have. And it's depressing to watch because IndyCar's great, but it's on a down here I say here in the States, but over there it's on a down. They're the lowest in the viewing figures, as we saw. So they've got to plan better, because they should start, in my opinion, they should start in Feb before the F1 like they did last year, build up the hype ready for the 500, and then after the 500, make sure people are tuning in for some classic racing. Nashville is a great one, just for the chaos, but we have too many boring, predictable races on the IndyCar calendar now, because I think the calendar has actually stayed the same for a number of years. There's also a lack of ovals. It's just, there's not a lot to tune in for. And even I did think, what's really the point sometimes?
Yeah, I was high on it when Roger Penske took it over and like, right, here we go. He's going to take this in, and it hasn't really done much, if anything, really, over the last couple of years. Let's go to pick a winner then for Supercars, Kobe, for the weekend. We'll do the first race now, the Thrifty Newcastle 500. Ed is still leading in the standings, as you can see. He's now 4 points clear of a good chunk of us just behind. Where am I? I'm all the way in. I'm in 6th on 2, so I'm not too far behind, but we've got 3 races to pick from this weekend, 2 Supercars races in Newcastle and the Phoenix Cup race. We'll get those picks over the weekend, but Newcastle comes up early doors for us on Saturday. I think it's a 4:20 a.m. start. Yes, I will be up for it on Saturday morning at that time to watch it. You can bet your bottom dollar on that one. And I'm going to go with a slightly curveball pick, because no one knows who's going to win this first race because it's a complete reset. I'm going to go with Brody Kostecki to open the championship with a win for the Erebus Coca-Cola Racing Team. It's a bit of a off-the-cuff, out-of-the-box thinking, but they've been pretty decent in testing. So Brody Kostecki, my pick for the Saturday race.
Yeah, Bertie Kostecki, definitely an interesting pick. And with the start of this new era, regulations for Gen 3, it's really wide open. But as they get more races in, get to develop the car more, as we all know, the cream always rises to the top. So I expect to see Shane Van Gisbergen up there. So that's why I'm gonna go with the safe pick for now. Although in the sake of the competition and entertainment, don't want to see Shane Van Gisbergen completely dominate this year. Love to see a lot more parity, but I think SVG is going to be my pick for race 1, and Adam Limmeries agrees with me. Thinks Shane Van Gisbergen is going to get the job done to kick off the new era.
I was trying to get a screen on to write SVG, but I don't think it's going to let me because it's not going to. So I'm just going to say SVG because I can't let Ed get this far ahead in the points. I need to start catching up. I was happy I got Verstappen, but I need points because if Ed continues to run away at the top, then things are going to get ugly in the Formula E commentary box. And we've got less than a month now until Sao Paulo. So Shane Van Gisbergen will win. Got to. If he doesn't, I'm worried about how exactly I'm going to win this year. Pick a winner. Oh, it's me. Sorry, Matt, I was expecting you to go back.
That's all right.
Yeah, it's me. See, that's how much I get into the swing of it. Okay, well, taking a look at our upcoming schedule. Friday morning at 9 a.m. Eastern, you can join our Women in Motorsports show. Saturday, noon Eastern, it's the Grid Live pre-race as well, as Kobe mentioned earlier. And Sunday, the Grid Live wrap-up is 90 minutes after the NASCAR Cup Series at Phoenix Raceway. Monday, 7 p.m. Eastern, Grid Live Encore, recapping ARCA and Xfinity races at Phoenix, and me probably ranting about Kyle Busch winning the Xfinity race. Now, moving on, please do consider subscribing to our YouTube channel as well. Thank you for helping us to reach our milestone of 500 subscribers as well. Now, let's see if we can get our new ambitious goal as well, which is 1,000 subscribers before the Indy 500 on May the 28th. At the moment, we're less than 25 subscribers away from 600. So tell your friends about Grid Network and get them to subscribe as well. Because to be honest with you, the rants I go on are just worth television gold anyway, because you can just have a laugh at the big bearded person who doesn't know anything as well. Now, don't forget to hit the bell icon as well to get your notifications, and follow us on all our social media platforms and visit gridranking.com. Now, take 5 minutes to invest in the Grid Network through Patreon. Join Colin, Mark, Deshelle, Robin and David in investing each month in the Grid Network, and we encourage you to join our amazing group of people who keep us on the air. And once we hit $500 per month, we can start sending people out to the circuits as well, and expanding our coverage and adding new members to the team as well, and increased Grid Network presence on site covering the races from the track and more content. Link is in the video description. And if you want to do a one-time donation, click on Buy Me a Coffee, the link as well in the description. Get your name on the board and invest as much as you want. Consider buying a specific on-air personality a cup of coffee, and they'll thank you on the air. Although it's a real buzz monster in my brain as well, so we'll probably be in the B language. Now, for Kobe Lambert at the Paid and Finish, Casey Campbell and Matt White from Grid EPI, I'm Joshua Birch. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Buzz, buzz, buzz.
Thank you for watching us right here on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe and check out some of our other videos, including Life on the Grid, where we interview folks from the motorsports industry. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.